Hi everyone, Refresh here, and today I'm going to be looking at Mayday Games' standard USA game size sleeves. And this is for 56 by 87 millimeter cards. And for these sleeves, you get 100 sleeves per pack. These sleeves are the soft sleeve types, which is why you get 100 and it fits in this very, very thin package. For this package, it will cost you $2.25, and that is going to be about 2 cents per sleeve. So this is a very, very inexpensive way to sleeve your cards. Let's take a look at what's inside. Alright, as you can see, you have a nice little pile of sleeves here. Let's see what the approximate thickness is. So it looks like it's going to be about 8 millimeters for 100. So that's going to be 80 microns per sleeve, and then that's about 40 microns per face of each sleeve. Looking at the sleeves as they come out of the package, this one has a little dent in it, and it looks like these sleeves are probably going to be a little bit prone to denting, but I guess we'll find out once we do the actual sleeving and shuffle tests whether that is true or not. Now let's measure a single sleeve and see approximately where all this lands. The width of a sleeve is going to be approximately 57.5 wide. And the height is approximately 89 tall. As you can see, the sleeves are smooth and glossy on both sides. So let's see how a card fits in here. I'm going to take this Munchkin door card and stick it inside. It's a very snug fit, as you can see. There is not much play on any of the sides, unlike many of the other sleeves I've tested. So this is actually very specifically made for this particular size of American sized board gaming cards. And I imagine that there might be a American sized board gaming card that's slightly bigger than this, but the fact that this sleeves so tightly around this is actually quite nice for a lot of people. It means that there's no real looking at extra plastic around the edges of the sleeves. The top edge of the sleeve is also very, very tight to the actual length of the sleeve, so there's not much space there either. So aesthetically, this looks quite nice as far as sleeves go for those who don't like to see the sleeve as much as they like to see the card. Now on to the sleeving test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 45 Munchkin door cards and put them in 45 of these 100 Mayday standard sleeves, and see how long that it takes using my stopwatch here. Ready, set, go. So that took 2 minutes and 34 seconds to sleeve all of these cards. That's going to amount to approximately 3.42 seconds per card sleeved. And that's a bit on the slower side. It's not a particularly fast sleeving process, but it's not that unexpected for soft sleeves to sleeve a bit more slowly. So there's that. During the sleeving process, I will note that because of how snug the sleeves are, like there wasn't a lot of play for me to slide the card into the sleeve, and so that meant that I had to be more precise, which slowed me down a little bit in the sleeving process. But generally, once you manage to get the edge of the card into the sleeve, it went in pretty well. Now that we have the card sleeves, let's take a look at their relative uniformity. So it looks like the sleeves are actually fairly uniform in size. The heights are about the same and the widths are about the same. Nothing feels particularly uneven, which is quite surprising given how inexpensive these sleeves are, but that's a really good thing. In terms of production quality, I would say that there is a bit of a problem with production quality overall, and that's because I ran into this rogue sleeve while sleeving up my cards. As you can see, these two sleeves have been fused together, and you don't expect to see things like this in a product that you purchased, you losing two sleeves to them becoming a sort of double sleeve thing, but there it is. And if this got through into my pack, who knows what kind of other problems might exist in other packs. Cutting out all the rest of the sleeves, it looks like there are 55 sleeves left if you count this errored sleeve as 2 sleeves, and so you actually do have the full 100 here, but because this came out as a really bad sleeve, I would count this more as 98, because these, I mean, you can't use this. So it's 98, it's a little short, you're still just paying 2 cents a sleeve, so maybe that's not that big of a deal. But glancing at the sleeves a little bit, you can see that, you know, the production quality is not that great. Some of these sleeves come pre-dented. You have this weird, you know, double sleeve monstrosity that shows up. So these aren't the highest quality sleeves that you can get, but considering the fact that these are the most inexpensive sleeves of this size that you can get, perhaps that is forgivable to some extent. Next is the shuffle test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 45 sleeved Munchkin Door cards and shuffle them 100 times. I'm going to time it, and then I will let you know how long it takes. Ready, set, go. Okay, that took 2 minutes and 4 seconds approximately to shuffle these sleeved Munchkin Door cards 100 times. And that is a pretty respectable speed of 1.24 seconds per shuffle. So they shuffle quite quickly, even given the fact that these are soft sleeves. And so sometimes the grip when you're shuffling them is a little bit squishy. And so they don't feel that great when they're shuffling and, so, you know, trying to grip them and have the deck into 2 is sometimes challenging. The combination of the fact that the cards are a bit smaller and the snugness of how well the sleeves fit the cards make it so that they don't squish too much, except a little bit at the top, and so that's actually quite a positive thing. So these are actually very good for cards that are precisely of this size in terms of handling, especially for soft sleeves. Like I said, it doesn't feel the best because it's really soft, but for soft sleeves, they actually feel pretty good. Let's take a look at the sleeves now that I've shuffled them a bit. So looking at the sleeves, it looks like there is some small amount of denting that either was already present or further occurred during the sleeving process. The corners are in a lot better shape than I anticipated, given the fact that these are soft sleeves. And again, I think this is in part because of the fact that the sleeves fit so tightly to the cards. There's less plastic for the corners to bend at, but some of them do show a little bit of bending. It's not a lot, it's just a little. And so, like a lot of soft sleeves, I imagine that these are not going to be quite as durable as their more thicker 100 micron cousins. But for what they are, these sleeves aren't that bad in terms of overall durability, at least, you know, with the initial batch of shuffles. Nothing split, nothing broke, or got damaged beyond use in at least the first 100 shuffles. So that's a really positive sign. And now we're going to do the shake tests. I've stacked these 45 sleeved Munchkin Door cards into a deck, and I'm going to shake the table that it's on for 2 seconds and see how well these door cards handle it. Ready? Okay, so in 2 seconds, it looks like the deck slipped a little from the bottommost card, but that's not really that big of a deal. Overall, I think that the deck holds up pretty well. I mean, you can knock it over if you wanted to, but the static on the soft sleeves actually holds the deck together a lot better than you'd think it would, and then if you press it down, then it really holds together well, as you can see. So I'm not too concerned about this falling down when it's stacked into a deck, and that is a pass. Now I'm going to be doing the draw test, so here we go. I'm going to draw 3 cards off the top and see how well the deck holds together with these sleeves on. Ready? Okay, as you can see, the deck slid a little, but I don't think it's going to be that significant of a problem unless you just like are really picking them up very quickly without paying attention, and even then it doesn't look like it's going to fall down. You might have to straighten it a bit, but that's pretty endemic to most card sleeves or even just decks in general, so I don't see this being a problem. I would say that it passes the draw test as well. So here's the deal. These sleeves are actually quite good for the money. They have all the same problems that other soft sleeves do, and if you look carefully, sometimes the sleeves aren't exactly cut perfectly. The right side of the sleeve, for example, is just a little bit taller than the left side. It's not tremendously so, but you can see that in a lot of these sleeves that one edge is going to be a little bit taller than the other. But you're normally not going to notice that sort of thing, and if you're the type that's going to be bothered by it, yes, you should avoid these sleeves. But again, we're talking about 2 cents per sleeve, which is the least expensive sleeve that you can buy. So for the price that you're paying, you're actually getting a pretty good deal, especially considering the fact that you do have some production problems, like somehow getting 2 sleeves that have been fused together in the pack, meaning that you're going to have 98 instead of 100 usable sleeves at least. The deal that you're getting is actually pretty good. The sleeves handle fairly well, especially for soft sleeves, given the fact that they are actually so tightly contoured to the shape of the actual sleeve, minus like rounded corners and all that. The fact that there's not a lot of space between the top edge of the sleeve and the opening, that might be a problem for some of you, especially because that means that there's not much protection for the top edge of your sleeve. If you look here, you can actually visibly see all the top edges like wide and open, which means that it's not very likely for you to have to deal with like this sliding into it just because it's so small. But it is possible for that to happen and for the sleeves to break as a result of it. It's actually more of an issue of if you have this deck on a table and you spill liquids, the liquids are going to just seep right on into those openings pretty easily. So that's going to be the concern for some of you. For the most part, I don't think it's a huge concern for a lot of people because I think a lot of people try not to have liquids placed on their gaming spaces. But if you are the type that needs your sleeves to have some level of liquid protection, this is not going to be satisfying to you. The rest of you, I think these sleeves are fine, especially for budget options. They don't feel the best in your hands when you're shuffling, but they do actually, once you're doing the shuffling, they do actually shuffle well. So it's not really going to present much of a problem when it comes to the actual handling. So aside from the fact that, you know, the general stipulations for soft sleeves, they're not going to be as durable or long-term lasting because of how tight they are. They're going to be able to fit possibly back into a lot of inserts or gaming cases that these come from. Not all, but, you know, a lot more than a more rigid sleeve would. And they don't add as much overall thickness because they're less than half the thickness of your average rigid sleeve. So that's going to mean that you can probably fit more cards back into whatever you're using to store your card games in. If you have any experience with these sleeves, either in buying multiple packages of them and you can attest to the consistency of the sleeves, I have a survey in the description box below. Go ahead and click that link and fill out the survey so that you can contribute to Mayday Games resources page where, you know, we can keep track of how consistent these sleeves are from pack to pack. And if you have experience with, you know, using these sleeves for a long time, then you can also click on the similar link in the description box where we try to keep track of the durability of these sleeves over use. So that can be helpful to other viewers and other readers. But I just want to thank you for watching. If this video was helpful to you, please click the like button. That lets me know that you appreciate these videos and to make more of them. And if you'd like to catch more gaming or gaming accessory videos like sleeve videos in the future, hit the subscribe button. I will be covering more American size sleeves in the near future, as well as doing a roundup once I've covered the 8 or so packages that I've purchased to test. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks very much for watching. This has been Refresh, and I will see you next time.